Hey everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
me, Banshee, and it's time for our monthly modality message. Happy birthday,
Libra.
Librans!
Happy birthday.
Wow, happy birthday to you. Man, this year has gone by.
Indeed. And we do this particular segment when the sun moves into each new sign of the zodiac. So once again, happy birthday, Libra. This reading is based for all signs of the zodiac as they are arranged through their modality associations. It's not really the same thing as the elemental association. So we're going to get into it right away by starting with our first modality, which are
the cardinal signs. Of course, might want to add that we are using the Zodiac Tarot, which is a very nice, appropriate deck for this, as well as our Celestial Tarot. Switch back and forth from time to time. And I like it. It's by Celia Latari, it's written by, and the illustrations are by Ana Chavez.
All right, so as I mentioned, this first reading will be for the cardinal signs. And who are the cardinal signs?
Wow. Well, it's Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn.
Indeed. And they
are found on my positives.
Known by certain characteristics. So these are their positive ones. They are initiators. That's what the cardinals are really mostly known for. They get things started. They are active and quick. They have drive and ambition, vim and vigor. They are no slackers. They're enthusiastic. They have a zest for life. They're clever. They want to win.
So if you want to be starting something, you know who to call. The cardinal signs.
Indeed. But they do have some negatives.
You know. I love the way I somehow get to talk about my negatives.
You handed me the cards. What else could I do?
Well, you know, sometimes we can be a little bit domineering. Sometimes we can be a little bit self-centered, forgetting about others as we focus on our stuff. And we often don't finish the things that we start. Sigh. When I really didn't need that because I have my own.
All right. So we are about to begin.
Yes, we'll keep them together.
Well, I'd like mine, please.
Then keep it on your side.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Cardinal signs. Let's see what's going on.
Primary focus for the cardinals in this month ahead.
It's a Four of Wands reversed. I guess this is going to be kind of a ho-hum period for you cardinal signs. This is a time, I think, where in your journey to build a foundation for yourself or, you know, get something going, that it's time to step back and look at the finer points of things. I know we hate to do that. We like to start things. We don't like to get, wound up in the details. But sometimes the details need to be taken care of. One other thing, I would think that this is a time, this period, since I said it's kind of ho-hum, just to enjoy the simpler things in life right now. Relax and unwind and enjoy the fall season.
Well, from my interpretation, the Four of Wands is one of those few cards that maybe doesn't diminish very dramatically. So I'm going to kind of go with the idea that this still pertains more to matters of the homestead, matters of maybe seasonal celebrations, especially at this time too, harvesty kind of stuff going on. There's an energy like that there. But I also feel too that from that more, not quite the same, but more or less the same point of view, your focus is really on enjoyment of what is around you at this time, the sense of family, solidarity, community, etc.
Well then, that leads right into the role your interactions with others may play in the month ahead. Oh, I like this. It's the Five of Pentacles reversed. It seems as though you're connecting more with people again. You feel part of something again, whether it's part of your family, whether you're really blending in well in your work or school environment. You know, some people who maybe have started new jobs and stuff and may feel a fish out of water. Or going to a new school, starting college. You're starting to feel acclimated now. You're starting to feel a sense of being a part of something.
Right. It may be that you're coming from this idea that you weren't really very connected. And I do feel there is,
definitely
a definite trend moving through those. But now, just because of the way you have taken maybe more of a different view of who you need to communicate with, maybe you realize, that people are not exactly opposite of you, but you're more like than not, and therefore that was turning the key to, in a way, to finding, your kind.
I like it.
So the third card is the opportunities or challenges that you may face in this month ahead, and how best can you achieve or tackle them?
This is really funny. It kind of ties in with what I said with the first card.
It's the reversed Ace of Wands.
Yeah. And so I think here, how we want to be starting something? Again, this is saying this really isn't a time to be starting something. So I think the opportunities or challenges you face is, how do you start something when you've got a lot of small details that you really need to tend to with something you're now working on? I think here, let's not get ahead of ourselves, and there could be delays and disappointments in initiating something, getting it off the ground. Number one, if you're not attending to the finer points and the details of what it entails to get this off the ground, or if this is something else you want to start, you're mired into something else right now, and you maybe need to tend to that first.
I really like how you put that together with the first card.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can be quite that
grandiose, what I said,
but I think this is true, though, that really your opportunities are maybe to slow back a little bit and attend to what may be already started or closer to that. Or maybe this is saying this is your chance really to schedule better, that maybe you realize you can't really start things now. And so this is an opportunity for you to look at it from that perspective, that you might have to reschedule your best opportunities, hopefully just until the next, turn of the sun.
So how can you use your modality's superpowers to best advantage in this month, cardinal signs? And it's interesting. We have the Three of Wands reversed. There's 3 wands in this reading and a pentacle. I have this feeling that even though we talked about social kind of things, that maybe this is about a work situation,
I think you got that right.
Career, but the modality superpowers, let's think about this here. How can you use them? Well, number one, I think here by realizing that in order to get something off the ground that you started, because that's what you want to do. You want to get things started. You need to tend to detail. You need to have a plan. You can't just go through this without that, because it could lead to failure. So your best way to use your modality superpowers is getting things started, but using your drive and initiative to formulate a solid plan to make sure you're not going to end up lacking.
And I'm going a little different here, because I'm feeling that the modality superpower reflected through these situations, while I agree with what the situations may be, they could also represent the challenge for you to understand what risks you really are taking. Maybe this is about how you assess risk versus opportunity. And so that's what I think is maybe tied up a little bit with this. Certainly maybe with that reversed Ace of Wands as your opportunities, is realizing sometimes you can't really push forward now. You have to to really wait for when the opportunity really is right.
Well, you know how often we don't finish what we start? That's an anti-superpower. When I look at this here, it almost leads me to believe that you're kind of counting your chickens before they hatch, you know. You have high expectations for what you want to get going here, but, you know, you're trying to get to the ends without the means of getting there, and you need that. You know, you need that. And I think time and time again in this reading here, well, maybe not totally, but there's a need, especially with this first card, to attend to the finer points, the details, to really look at things. And I think I like what Mr. O said about, you know, the risk factors. Assessing the risks involved, too, I think are really important here.
And that's mostly because I agree. This reading seems to be more about business, career, your employment kind of stuff.
So let's look at this again. You know, we talked about some factors of dealing with people with these two cards, and I feel here that you need to tend to the smaller details of your project. You need to feel like people are with you on this, you know, that people have your back, that you have support, that you have, you know, a network of people maybe that you can communicate with to help you get something off the ground.
Right, so I see that too, connecting those cards. The idea is that maybe the focus is more about figuring out who's working with you, who's building with you.
It seems like you're finding it.
And right, because you're able to kind of roll this into your actual interaction. So this could be saying, you know, if you're used to maybe being more passive or letting people intuit your desires or what the plan is, maybe you're going to really take more of a lead this month.
But the challenge here is, you know, avoiding disappointment, avoiding a lack of progress, avoiding this just not getting off the ground. That's the challenge here. You have an opportunity to try to do the right things and put things in place to ensure success. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge
waiting on the opportunity to happen. It's a challenge waiting on this delay that's sort of stopping things from moving. And so that's about patience.
It's about patience, and it's about planning. And ultimately, again, right here, you know, we see it again. It's like you're looking for the results instead of thinking about what it takes to get there. And so I feel here, you know, and that's just like a cardinal sign. We want to get things started, and then, you know, we kind of let them go, or we kind of expect that getting it started is enough. It's not enough. You have to follow through. You have to follow through.
Right. Your superpower may be realizing that even if you don't like the particular course or direction, there still is some sort of denouement that you need to make happen for some reason.
So good luck with that cardinal signs. Let's move on. We're moving on to our friends, the fixed signs. Mr. O will shuffle here while I talk about the fixed signs.
I'll fix that.
Who are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius.
That's me. Well, Scorpio is.
You know, there are some positive attributes, believe it or not.
Well, with that crew, I clearly stand out, though. You know it.
Yeah, they may be fixed, but there's advantages here. They're steady. They're stable. They're determined. They're resolute. They're self-reliant. They know they forge ahead. They calmly work on their objectives unless computers are involved.
Or meddlesome spouses.
And they remember those who have helped them.
Thank you. Now go away.
Persistence, concentration, they're powerful yet purposeful, and there are no wasted motions.
There are, however, some negative traits. If you didn't get it, some of them just we're stubborn. It's my way or the highway thinking. And I think Scorpio really and Taurus really kind of exemplify that. Leo and Aquarius too, but maybe in a subtler way perhaps. Okay, tendency to get stuck in their ways. I'm old, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to learn the new computer stuff.
That's known as change resistors in some industries or walks of life. And of course, we believe that we're always right. And you believe that too. Okay, maybe not.
Anyway, just a little silliness here.
I have to lighten it up, otherwise you'll think I'm a total monster. I'm not.
Wow.
I'm no monster.
I'm a Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio.
Ah! All right, go ahead.
All right, card 1, the primary focus for the fixed signs this month. And it's the Fool, reversed.
Uh-oh.
We may be figuring out this month that things seem to keep moving us into the wrong direction. We may be faced with a set of circumstances that make us feel we're going to be luckier than we will end up being.
Hey, where are we?
Oh, I'll be there. Don't worry about it.
Have we been on camera at all?
Yes. Goodness gracious.
Hey. No risks this month. You know, that's the primary focus is, well, the primary focus might be a cleanup on aisle 6. In other words, you've taken a risk and there's some fallout. So really, you know, think about the moves you make. Are they calculated? Are they spontaneous, spur of the moment things that could get you in trouble later? This is another reason why sometimes thinking before acting and planning a little bit is better. And, you know, sometimes there is a call to be spontaneous, let's face it. But it looks like for you fixed signs, now is not the time.
There is a call to be spontaneous, but the universe does not always have your back necessarily. And where can I move that?
Well, you go, risk taker. What's
All right,
next?
so then card 2 is the role that your interactions with others may play in this month ahead. And it's another major arcana. It's the Hierophant reversed. Well,
The role of your interactions with others and how they will impact.
well, you may feel really, you know, like you're cutting loose in a way. You may feel like you're breaking some rules. You may feel like you don't want to be necessarily exactly like everyone else. It's sort of as a sense of really actually purposely wanting to be different or wanting to be unconventional.
You're not going to like the way I go with this.
Uh-oh.
No. I mean, I look at this card here and I'm thinking to myself, people have been goading you to take this risk. People have been kind of pushing you to do something different, to do something radical, to do something out of the box. And so they've kind of coerced you maybe and manipulated you to take this risk. Or my feeling is you might be blaming others for what you've done and saying, well, so-and-so said this would be a good idea, so I thought I'd jump off that cliff without a parachute, you know, or a paraglider.
It's actually fairly easy to look at all 4 signs in this modality and say, yeah, I think they could do that. I think they could sort of blindly or craftily finger somebody else. So it is possible that it could be that, but I think more likely what you said in the beginning is right, is that maybe you feel like you're just going to be more or less coerced or brought into the thinking that says you need to really do something unusual.
Well, I have to look at some of the negatives too of, you know, the fixed signs and say that maybe because you felt it was the right thing to do, you did it anyway. And maybe others were trying to talk you out of it and give you, you know, unusual alternatives or unique alternatives that you could take instead. But no, you know, so it could go either way.
There's a lot of that there. I can see that now too.
Yeah. So let's take a look at what's next.
Card 3, the opportunities or challenges you may face in this month ahead. How best can you achieve or tackle them? And keeping up with the major arcana, it's the upright emperor, so at least he's upright, eh?
Well, I think the opportunity here is to show some leadership, but maybe the opportunity here, wow, to help you achieve your goals is to just, control what's going on here, put things more under control. So in other words, if you're being manipulated by others, I think you need to control the narrative more here. And if you are going out on a limb on your own here, then you're going to need to own this. The opportunity or challenge here is you own this one way or another, and you're going to have to stand up and accept responsibility, which is what an emperor does, for whichever way this goes.
Yeah, that's a really powerful way to look at this. This is a total package. Your opportunity is to realize that you have a chance to really shine your leadership. But if there are those situations where maybe you've impacted in your interactions with others to the point where there's some fallout going on, this is your chance to kind of bring them back into the winner's circle. What is an emperor without some sense of a council around them, some sense of people that they can get advice from? It goes, like I said, it's the total package. So as an emperor, you have to make some hard choices, but to some degree you realize that others give you input, and so you're not totally on the line. You're working with the best information you can access.
So how can you use your modality superpowers to help you out this month for the best possible outcome?
And it's the reversed Page of Swords. It's not my fault. I didn't mean it. It was an accident.
Oh my goodness.
I was trying to be diplomatic.
Well, this is a tough one because
I think you have to realize that you do have some awkward areas and that you have to really work on what that is. Some of this involves your level of tact and diplomacy, and that fits right in with any of these other cards in a way. Certainly those two, the Emperor and the Hierophant, that the idea is that you are having interactions with people and you have to be a little bit more graceful. That's what your superpower is figuring out how you can maybe turn your worst behaviors or possible attitudes into something that is publicly acceptable as an emperor would want.
Wow, well,
too much?
A little vague and too much, no.
A little vague.
Just a little. But you said something really important here, I think, with grace. Because I wasn't thinking of the term grace, but I was thinking of the term flexible. You have to be flexible in the way you approach the situation. And another thing, and this has nothing to do with your superpower, but maybe it does, but it comes to my mind here when I see this card, is don't try to make things up. Don't try to, sometimes this card can be considered an imposter kind of person, somebody who's, kind of being, hiding under cover in a way. And I feel here that you may be trying to cover up for your mistakes, and you really are going to have to own it. You're going to have to own and accept responsibility because, remember, ultimately, you're the one who always thinks you're right. And
well, remember, I did say you have to try to be diplomatic. That's another way of saying being flexible. So,
right. So let's go back to the beginning here.
Right.
I'm having a funny feeling about this reading, though. I can't really say for certain that this isn't involving a relationship either, or even starting a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and I think I kind of want to run through that first and see what you think of this, because with the Fool here, you may want to take a risk and a gamble on someone that maybe others are feeling, oh no, they're way out there and not right for you. They're kind of radically different from you. Are you sure you want to do that? But you, of course, the Emperor, are in control here, and you feel like maybe this is right for you and you want to give it a go. And ultimately, is it really going to work out for you? I think that it's possible here. It may not, because this is saying, you know, you may have to admit that you made a mistake, or you're trying to cover your tracks on it.
Right. Some sense of tact or diplomacy is needed to maybe extricate yourself
From that situation.
From that situation,
Good
and
point.
or also the feedback you're getting from other people as represented by these other cards.
So you see that as possible.
I do see it as possible.
And I mean, and
Good for
clearly
pointing that
this
out.
whole thing could relate to a project or goal, some risk or chance you want to take in your personal life. I'm gonna go and have a road race on public streets in a city at night just because I can. You know, I mean, this could have to do with the kinds of, you know, kind of irresponsible decision making we may make, and risks that we take with our lives and other people's lives.
All of these fixed signs can be really stubborn.
Yeah.
And
So
don't
anything you want to
necessarily
add
want
to
to
that?
change. No, I think I got it there.
Okay, all right. So we have for you good luck with that. We're on the mutables. Whoops. And you know, the mutables, who are they, Mr. O?
The mutables, who are they, Mr. O? Well, they are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces.
Are you ready for that mouthful of their good qualities?
No, but I'm going to do it. They go with the flow. They are adaptable, flexible, versatile, highly resourceful. They can change when necessary. They are quite easy to change. They can change, assume various personas, like a chameleon of the Zodiac in a way. They are well liked by others. They enjoy learning, playing fair, diplomacy. They are sharp, sympathetic. They can see below the surface. And they're a bit selfless and quick to help others.
Mutables.
You wrote that.
You're good. You're good peeps, but there are some issues. For example, you know, you try too hard sometimes. You try too hard to please others, and that is a slippery slope for sure. You can be wishy-washy. You can be considered wishy-washy. You can be inconsistent. And some people may question why you are playing both sides. They may think you're being duplicitous. And you can stretch yourself to the breaking point. Don't do that. All right.
All right. Finishing up.
Okay.
Card 1.
Oh, why am I doing this? Like I'm laying them out on the table or
The
something.
primary focus for the mutables in this month ahead. And it's Justice Reverse.
Oh, poo.
Oh, poo.
But you know, isn't this where you can work your magic, mutables? It looks like you're faced with a situation involving some unfairness, some imbalances, and you try to make everybody happy. You try, you know, and I think your best trait in that regard is when you're seeking common ground. You can be a diplomat. You can be a negotiator. It seems to me there is something you're going to try to make right, or try to bring people who are, you know, opposing opinions or ideas together in some way.
You know, there's a real binary quality to the card, and the nature of mutables is more or less, you know, default binary, able to shift positions, the chameleon aspects. So I think this is saying that the focus is maybe looking at what can be fixed, maybe resolving situations between people, whether they're in your family or whether they're in your work community or wherever else this is. This is saying that that is the focus this month, that there is some sense of reordering things or rectifying certain things. And you guys, the mutables, would notice this first perhaps, or be most interested in trying to get that done.
Now, one thing to consider here, mutables, is if this is about you, an injustice or unfairness or an imbalance being leveled at you, some inequity, don't, maybe this is because you've been trying to please everybody. Maybe this is because of some of those negatives I'm seeing here, and it's making you feel now that you're being taken advantage of, which clearly can happen. So let's think about that. So let's see what the rest of the cards hold, Mr. O. So,
Part 2, your interactions with others. What will they provide this month?
well, this is an interesting form of balance.
Oh, yeah. It's the Two of Swords. So it could be saying that your interactions with others may be kind of wait and see, or sort of sit there and take in information but play a poker face a little bit. You may be looking at things as if there is a question here that needs to be resolved per the first, but maybe this is a time for you to intuit stuff or gather information before making, your final decision.
Sorry there. Had a little Charlie horse in my leg.
I know you're going to take it in a different direction.
Yes and no. But really no, because clearly here, with your interactions with others, this situation is making you want to pull back and start assessing the facts or gathering more information. You may actually be talking to people, but you are not ready to make any kind of move or decision on this until you figure out more about what's going on here, and why this is occurring. And that's wise. Actually, that may be wise in this situation.
The only other thing I would say would be that although this is a position of how you interact with others, this is saying your interactions are kind of guarded. They're a little bit cordial, yes, but they're not necessarily totally embracing people. So you may seem a little bit remote to people, or you may be acting remote or aloof.
Well, and you may tell them point blank, I'm not ready. Okay, so mutables, it just seems like this is a time to pull back. I think that's your interaction with others. It might be, I'll get back to you on that. Or, just pulling back to assess, like I said, what your next moves are going to be. This is maybe a time where your interactions, as he said, are guarded, but maybe you're trying to lessen them right now until you can figure out exactly what's going on.
Card 3, opportunities or challenges you may face in the month ahead, and how can you best tackle them?
It's the Empress upright. Wow.
Oh, wow. And we had the Emperor in that position for the previous modality.
There's a couple of conflicting messages here, and it's no surprise to me since you are mutable signs in a way. So the opportunity or challenge here is to and maybe it fits in with this Justice card reversed, is that you have to know how much empathy and support you can give to others weighed against how much care you need for yourself. So in other words, this is going to be kind of a juggling act here to me, is to figure out, okay, how can I broker this and make this right without sacrificing my own personal needs, while also, ensuring that other people feel that I care about them too.
Right. I see a lot of that there. I don't know that I see all of that. I feel the Empress always tries to nurture situations, heal situations. So I think these are opportunities you have, but I feel still you have to be more or less invited in to do that from some sense of this, especially this. And it's kind of interesting because all of these cards to me express a sort of divine feminine sense about them, or binary sense that can include that. So I feel with the Empress, your opportunities are to create something that maybe will either build better or still will be able to deal with the first card, which is saying maybe there's imbalances that will also be corrected through your opportunities.
Okay, and the final card?
How can you use your modality superpower to best advantage?
Oh, this is not like the mutables.
Oh no.
I guess you've
Kill
been
them all
stretched.
and let the goddess sort
I
it
guess
out.
you've been stretched so
Five of
far
Swords.
that you have cracked. Because this says take no prisoners. You know, in other words, put yourself first. Put yourself first and take no prisoners. I don't know.
You know, it may be saying that there's something deeper going on here that is actually more destructive, and I think that takes us all the way back to the first one, the sense of inequities or imbalances or decisions that have contrary effects perhaps on you or people you care about. And so I think Banshee could be right here. The idea is that in all of this, as you're trying to, you know, negotiate and be better or not rush to decisions, you still have to hold your final, you know, goal to yourself, which is, you know, to not give any quarter.
You know, this sounds like to me a lot of either interpersonal interactions going on, whether it's in a romantic relationship, whether it's in a family relationship, or with friends, or you know, people that you're interacting with online, or at the workplace. You know, so like a office politics situation, or with managers even. You have to fight for your rights here. I'm beginning to think. Let's take a look at this again. What do you say?
All right, very good. So card one was about the primary focus, and I think we kind of had slightly different opinions there with Justice reversed, but it did seem like maybe the primary focus is trying to right a wrong or trying to bring justice or balance to some situation.
It does look that way to me now, like maybe you feel, at the very least, that you have been taken advantage of, your good graces, you know, that you have been taken advantage of in some way, or you're being slighted by people in some way, maybe even being bullied by people in some way. And it's time to pull back and really assess what's going on here and what you need to do about it.
And this may involve you having maybe a slightly contrary effect with your interactions with others, because you may have to be more guarded, as I said, maybe a little bit more aloof or less forthcoming. And of course, you'll have to be just sort of a sense of honesty, saying like you're not ready to move on from the shed, or you're not ready to feel like it's been done.
You may want to consult with somebody completely outside of the situation in order to get an outside objective opinion to help you sort out what you should do. So that maybe your interactions with others might involve that. But I think with the people directly involved in the situation, it's time to give yourself a little bit of breathing space and determine what's really going on here.
All right. Empress.
Well, so the opportunity and challenge I feel for you this month is there's an opportunity here to determine, you know, what level of care you need to give to yourself and others, or what level of care you need to give to yourself at the expense of others or at the expense of yourself. You have to try to balance it out here. And you have to be sure that you yourself your needs are being met. Your needs are important as the needs of the people you work with, you live with, you love, etc.
The emphasis should also be reminded too that this can involve creative approaches and solutions to the problem. So
yes,
you are probably the one who is best situated to do that, whether because of the role you lead with these interactions or because it just falls to you naturally. You're going to have to put on the thinking cap in certain ways and find what all those solutions are that really suit everybody.
Your superpower, you know, which is all about bringing people together and trying to make everybody happy. Maybe ultimately, though, in the end, you're starting to realize there are no winners here, because you yourself can't win because you can't make everybody happy. And, you know, the other people are remaining unhappy. I just don't think this has a very good resolution for you this month, unfortunately. Give it due diligence, do your best, but ultimately it may be beyond your control to be able to stop this train wreck. You may have to move on from here, walk away.
Happiness or satisfaction in this regard is not going to be a consensus situation. There's always going to be somebody who feels like they weren't listened to, or they're not really sure they like the final result. And you have to be willing to just basically remain stoic in this regard. I think it's important also to not become overly emotional in this regard, because you do have to stand your guard and not show any weakness, not give any quarter, as I said. Whatever this is.
Take no prisoners. Well, good luck with that, mutables. Wow.
Indeed.
Tough, challenging time for you.
So another thrilling rendition of the monthly modality message as we are moving into Libra.
And it's fall equinox. I want to wish everybody a happy fall equinox, happy Mabon for those who celebrate, and also a happy birthday to our friends the Librans. We know a lot of Libras.
We really appreciate any input you can give us. We love the fact that people have some contrary ideas or some supportive ideas, examples or anecdotes from their own experience. Share that with us here on the YouTube channel. You can also drop us a line at our Gmail, TFT, Tarot for Today, one word, at gmail.com.
Yeah.
And that's it until next month, approximately a month from now, when the sun moves into Scorpio.
Birthday boys time.
Muhaha.
But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Enjoy Libra season and the fall. Take care, everybody. Have a great Libra season, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.